Um, Hello, world again. Hello, creative thinkers. Hello, positive thinkers out there. This is my second video. I did a video before this, but it didn't make the cut. I don't know if it was something about the time or whatever. So I'm hoping that this video here makes the cut. So I'm gonna try to keep my time. And that's short, but at a good length. Okay, onto the people out there, the YouTubers, I guess. Hello. My name is George Mebane. In my last video, I talked about, I came here to New York and I stumbled across something. While I was here in New York, I stumbled across something. And I want to tell you, before I get to what I stumbled across, I want to tell you a little bit about me. My name is George Mebane. And I don't know how to say this. Before I came to New York, I was living a life of drugs, just living the life of drugs, and I call it the negative way. Life of drugs, crime, stuff like that. So, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I'm gonna be real. Certain people have to do what they have to do, and to get by, or to make ends meet and to put food on their table. So I'm not knocking I don't want to knock anybody out there, because there's different situations for different households and families and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that, that everything that goes that way is, people are bad, because while in my negative way, I did run into good people. So I want to make that clear. But as I said, I was living the life of drugs. So when I caught the bus here to New York, I got on a Greyhound. I just came to New York. The place I was at was a wreck, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a wreck, but it was just about to go out the window. I'll get into that later on. But I knew when I was on the bus, I knew that I wanted to change and have a different way of thinking, and in a different way of making some money. So I came to New York, and I said I wanted to live a different way. Now, in my negative way, me making money, I think that I did pretty good. So I just didn't want to take those risks anymore. And I was thinking about this while I was on the Greyhound coming up to New York. I said I can come to New York and easily, but I was like, I just didn't want to do it. So when I got to New York, I went to go stay at a homeless shelter. I don't want to mention the name of the homeless shelter, but I went to stay at a homeless shelter. And I was there for a couple of days, and I was walking around the city of New York. I always had a love for New York. Always had a love for New York, and I always will. I've been up all the way up to California, and I came back and now I'm here in New York. I always have a love for New York. And I was walking around the city, and I was looking at people and, trying to find out, what can I get into something quick to see if I can get some breakfast money or, something for in the morning, coffee or something like that. And I was looking at what people were doing because, as I said, I wasn't stable yet. And I needed some quick money, I needed a couple of dollars in my pocket. And as I'm walking around here in New York, they said panhandling. And I said, okay, that looks, pretty easy. Just, I'm going to open the door, and I'm going to greet people, and I'm going to tell them, tell them to have a good day. And if they give me some money, I'll just tell them thank you very much, simple things. So I said, well, I'll do it at a coffee shop. It's the morning, I'm waking up in the mornings. We got to wake up in the mornings and, I want to see the city a little bit. So I went to do a coffee shop Starbucks. And it's on 31st and 6th. And I'll get to all the other things later, but I wanted to make some money. It was okay. Money was okay. It was okay. Well, yeah, I got to get back to the first point because I don't want to lose people here on what I came across. So I'm at the Starbucks. And I'm thinking in my head that, maybe I can make a couple of dollars, get me some coffee, and probably get me a little train fare or something like that, and just, try to walk around New York and do a little sightseeing, because I've never been in New York before. So I open the door up, I'm opening the door for people, and then this one lady walks in. It's been 3 years ago, but I remember this one lady walks in. And usually when people walk in, because it's glass, I can usually look and open the door and, when they're walking up, because sometimes they have their hands full or whatever. And so, I want to, open the door, So this lady was walking out and she gave me $1. Now this next event that is about to take place, what should I say about this? I'm not looking at the person. But when the lady comes out the door, I open up the door for her, and she gives me $1. And I said, thank you. I appreciate that. Matter of fact, she was like I think she was the first. She was the first person. She gave me $1, and I said, I appreciate that. Because a couple of people walked in, and, I wasn't giving up hope or anything like that. But a couple of people walked in and walked out, and, they didn't give me anything. So, it could have been a number of reasons. Times are hard or whatever, right? So this lady gave me $1, and I said, thank you, ma'am, and you have a positive day. So as she walks out the door, now I still have the door handle in my hand, and I look over my shoulder to see who's going to come around and walk in the door. So as I'm looking over my shoulder, I see this woman rolling her eyes at me. And I'm like, okay. It's first thing in the morning, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is she rolling her eyes at? Is she rolling her eyes at me because I opened up the door so the lady can come out? Or is she rolling her eyes at me telling the lady to have a positive day? Or is she rolling her eyes because the lady gave me $1? And I'm trying to open up the door so that if she's coming in the store, that, she can, just a little bit of service. So I'm trying to figure out, what is she rolling her eyes at? And, so I was thinking to myself, and as I said, I didn't get, I got caught up, but I didn't get too caught up in it. It's not a big thing because people go through things, and maybe she could have been having a day or something like that. I don't know. But, I don't hate her for it or anything, rolling her eyes. I don't get caught up in the people rolling their eyes. You roll your eyes, you roll your eyes. I don't get caught up in that. That's, people are going to do what they're going to do. So, this is how, when I guess the lady kept going right past, the one that rolled her eyes kept going right past me. And I said to myself, I said, okay, that's not positive thinking. And plus I said to myself, it's first thing in the morning, people are going to work. I said, why? I said, because I told the lady, I said, that's not positive thinking. And I said, well, why would anybody have negative thinking and they're about to go to work? Boom, 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 boom. So this is how this whole thing on what I stumbled upon comes out. So I said to myself, that wasn't positive thinking. I gotta watch my time. I said, that wasn't positive thinking. And then I said, the first words that came out my mouth, I said, positive thinking. And then I kept, as people walk inside the store and walk out, I said, have a positive day. That's how positive came out. Have a positive day, ma'am. You have a great day. Thank you, and have a positive day. And because there's some people out there that were pretty good. That were good. They were pretty good for me, or to me. And they still are when I think about them. And that's a whole another thing. That's a whole another thing. But you gotta forgive me. My sinuses are acting up a little bit. Tree pollen or whatever. So, okay. So I said that wasn't a positive. That's not positive thinking. So getting back, I started to add things up. As people would walk out the store, I would say, have a positive day. And then from the door, I don't know what happened. From the door, yeah, dude. From the door, the manager of Starbucks said, well, I couldn't open the door no more for people. So I was like, okay, so I'll just stand right across from the door. Boom. But I still had positive thinking on my mind. I was like, that wasn't positive thinking. I said, because you can't, I said it wouldn't make sense for you just to walk by me with like 3 minutes of negative energy and then go to work and have a positive day. This is how I was matching things up, because it was still on my, what are you rolling your eyes at? Because I'm new to New York now, okay? So I don't really understand the rules around here and what's going on. So, boom. But I've been to different cities, and, different cities work different ways. So, okay, what happened? So I moved, I couldn't stand on the door anymore, so I went like, I don't know, maybe just like right to the curb, before all this construction is going on now. I went right to, so I said, I can't stand in front of the door, so I'll go just right on the curb. There's like a sidewalk there. Okay. But I still had, as I said, I still had positive thinking on my mind. So here's how it came out. I said, positive thinking, my attitude must follow when people would walk by and wave and come by and say, they wanted to know how I was doing. And, as I said, I was homeless at the time, and, people were concerned. That's why I said this is a whole, that's a whole another story right there. And I could take forever talking about the people of 31st and 6th, okay? So, and I'm trying to do this video on what I stumbled upon. So, okay. So, I was, this is how positive thinking, my attitude must follow, came up. So now, while I have positive thinking, my attitude must follow, because I said when I wake up in the mornings I like to feel good. So positive thinking, my attitude. I went back to my negative ways, and I went back to when I used to go to the NA meetings. And I had positive thinking, my attitude was on my mind, while standing in front of Starbucks. But then I went back to my NA meetings. I remember them saying that negative thinking, negative attitude, looking for positive results is called insanity. I said, okay. But I had positive thinking, my attitude must follow on my mind. And I was speaking it to the people. I said, have a positive day, positive thinking. Thank you, ma'am, when they come by to give me $1. Thank you, ma'am, positive thinking, my attitude must follow. Thank you very much and have a nice day. That's how it came out. So now, I remember getting back to the negative thinking, negative attitude, looking for positive results is called insanity. I said to myself, well, and you know, when I'm talking about myself, I'm thinking about my higher power. You know, it wouldn't be right if I didn't include a higher power in it. I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. So, I said to myself, positive thinking, my attitude must follow. And I said, well, I have patience for my results. And while I have patience, I'll do other things while I'm having patience for my results. Doing other things while you have patience going after your passion. And see, that's what I was on the Greyhound bus, and I said, well, I go to New York, and I'm going to go after passion. I'm going to find me some passion. They have plenty of passion here in New York. So I said, I'm going to go to New York, and I'm going to follow my dreams. I said I wanted to come to New York, and I wanted to be an actor. And I said, well, I'm going to come here, and I'm going to follow my dreams. You know? And trying to, you know, because when you're trying to explain to other people about your dreams, it's just like, you know, but not, you know, some people support, and then I learned from this artist about telling people about your dreams. It's called mental ejaculation or something like that. Excuse my language on YouTube, but you know, I learned that from an artist in Dallas. But some people have different, you know, they just feel different and do different things, and some people don't want their dreams and all this to be exposed, but I don't mind. I'm like, for me, I'm like, well, how else is it supposed to get out there then if you don't tell it? I don't mind. So, and I feel, and I tell people out there, I said, if things don't happen, then I still, you know, it's the ride, it's the journey. But anyway, getting back to positive thinking. So, let's see. Okay, so positive thinking, having patience for my results, and while I have patience, I'll just do other things. I'm new to New York. I have to learn New York. I got to sightsee, doing other things. I could try to, as I said, sightsee. Go look at some theaters, comedy clubs, or whatever. What do they have going on here in New York? Go to Broadway. Just visit. Just look and see all this stuff, everything. You know, you always seen New York on TV, but I've never been to New York. So it's like an experience to me. You know what I mean? So to me, nothing can be wrong. That's just the way, you know, because I've always seen it on TV. So okay, so let's see. So yeah, so having patience for my results. So. Okay. So then that's when I would, you know, because I stand out in front of people and I speak. And I know some people out there. I'm starting to, remember some faces and get familiar with people. But there's a lot of people that I don't see, you know. I don't know. So, but whatever it is, I still do it and I still feel good about it. So, let's see, I talked about that. Let's see. Okay, so as I'm out there talking about doing positive thinking and talking to the people, I said, and I would talk about positive thinking, and I would say positive thinking, my attitude must follow, having patience for my results. Negative thinking, my attitude must follow, but looking for positive results. And then to be or not to be came in my mind. Okay. When I wake up in the mornings, do I wake up to be or do I wake up not to be? This is where the double negatives come in, and this is where the double positives come in. So, I said I wake up to be. I'm on the pursuit of happiness. I'm looking for passion. So, when I'm in front of Starbucks, and I'm doing the positive thinking speech. Positive thinking, my attitude must follow. I was getting a lot of boos. Boo. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Right? Boo, don't do that. A lot of shaking. First I was getting shaken in the heads before the boo. Okay. But it's a whole, this is how this thing right here comes into play. This is the wishbone. You can take a good look at it for a second. It's the wishbone. You see? I ran across this thing here. I was leaving Starbucks one day. I remember it was cold. And I was talking about double positives and I was talking about double negatives. And this is how sabotage came to. But I was walking along one day and I came up with this. I saw this wishbone laying on the ground, and I said, one side is the to be side. This is the long end of the stick, and the short side is the insanity part, not to be. But looking for positive results. And this wishbone here, I would show it, and I said it's not necessarily the two pieces or the two ends of the stick, but it's what's in the middle of the wishbone. And what's in the middle of it is space. And that space right there protects the positive side. I mean, the space, because it's hard to explain the jump once the hand is caught inside the cookie jar. This is the reason why, part of the reason why our president is in the situation that he's in now because of the positive thinkers. What's going down on 31st and 6th. And but I didn't want to bring politics into it, but this is it's the truth, and it's what's happening. It's what's happened, and this is the reason why we're having chaos going on within the United States because of positive thinking. But it's just not me alone. I had help, I would put it. I had help, a lot of help, and people turned the light on. So it's not just me. See, that's the thing I want to bring into it. It's not just me. People pull me up, and then I'm supposed to pull up. So it's not just me. And I'm grateful for those people. That's why I said that's a whole nother story I can go into. So that's the show of the wishbone. Okay. And how I came across it, it was just laying on the ground. And I just looked at it and I said, to be or not to be, double positive, double negatives. Looking for positive results. Okay, and I like to talk about the footage room real quick. Now the footage room, I say the footage room, when I go out there now, the 31st and 6th, I go to the footage room and I tell people, misery, insanity, negative thinking, negative attitude, looking for positive results is stuck in the footage room with his finger on the rewind button, looking at old footage. And then once they've seen the old footage, and we've seen the old footage as positive thinkers, misery still wants us to answer questions about footage that we both seen. It's like I lost my money in the bet, but I still got questions. I'm trying to convince you that what you actually saw are seeing, or what you actually have, what you actually saw, it didn't happen. Okay. So that's misery's insanity's job. Let's see. In the footage room with his finger on the rewind button, wanting to discuss old footage. Now, see, I call this ridiculous talk because, see, you've seen the footage, and I see. This is why I say positive. This is why I say you got to watch out for. I tell positive thinkers out on 31st, you got to watch out for ridiculous talk because, see, ridiculous talk would get you caught up. See, and it's not enough time in a day to get caught up in a ridiculous talk. Okay. And it comes from insanity. Negative thinking, negative attitude, looking for positive results. And the only way, and the positive results are on what side of the wishbone. So that means the negative side would have to jump over to the positive side to find positive results. Positive plus a positive equals another positive. Negative plus a negative equals another negative. Okay. All right. So yeah, getting back to the footage room. Yeah, sitting in the footage room with his finger on the rewind button. So this is why I created the footage room. I created the footage room not to hurt misery, but to try to help misery. See? I didn't put it there to hurt misery. I said if I put little things into the footage room, then maybe it'll give misery some idea and turn some lights on, and then maybe misery will say, you know what? I want to step out of that footage room, turn around, and see what he sees. Because as I tell my positive thinkers out there, I said, positive thinkers, we think that nonsense is funny. But misery is serious about nonsense. Very serious about nonsense. It's a telltale sign of misery. But I don't want to get too much deep into that. So, let's go. Let's see. I got to get my talking points out the way. Because, see, these are some very important things. Oh, I wanted to talk about the mental plane ride. See, now when I'm talking, this is the mental plane ride. Following me mentally. Taking the mental plane ride. Now, sometimes I can go high. Sometimes I may go to the left, but there's only one pilot, okay? And I would have to remove myself out the way. Talk about the domino line. I would have to remove myself out the way, and then I have to go to my higher power. But there's only one pilot. So now the mental plane ride, it goes to the left, it goes to the right, it goes up, and it goes down. Okay? But when it goes down, there's fire down there. It's fire. So when you're flying low, you want to make sure that you don't, but you crash and burn, but you can hear the screams. But then if you ask the screams, do you want help? Nope, you don't want help. But insanity, misery wants you to join. I don't know if you can catch that. Insanity, misery, it doesn't want help, it wants you to join into the fire. While we're on the plane. Now, let's see. Okay, where was I at? I was talking about the mental plane ride. So, while I'm doing these videos, keep that mental plane ride in your mind. It might be high, I might be flying low to the fire. But as long as the positive thinkers, as long as I have my mind on water, which comes from above. I keep my mind on water, which comes from above. And what I mean by that, my higher power, God. Makes it rain. Okay, so I was talking about the mental plane, right? I'm getting back to the footage room. So I put little things into the footage room. The first thing I put in the footage room is amen. Amen. Now, I'm gonna cut this video off in a few more minutes, see if it makes it. But I put amen into the footage room. So I say to myself, and I say to my positive thinkers, and that's what I wanted to tell y'all. I'm glad I got it in my head now. I will get some footage of my positive thinkers, and I will do a little positive thinking thing while on video out there too, so you can see some of my positive thinkers, and I don't know. Maybe we'll find a double positive out of it some way. But that'll be real. I would like that. So I want to introduce YouTube to the 31st and 6th. That'd be pretty good. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I put little things into the footage room. So I put amen. See, now this isn't to hurt misery. Amen is not to hurt misery. Amen, amen. I remember amen. I was going to church. This is how amen. I remember I was a kid, like 5, 8 years old, and because my mom and dad would fix this big breakfast with biscuits, 2 biscuits, eggs, grits, bacon, and all that stuff, and I would eat all that, and then I would watch my cartoons, boom, 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 and then I would go to church. I had to go to church because I had to say my Bible verse, see. And my dad would always make sure, my dad didn't play about church. He just didn't play. So I'm not even going to fake the funk on that. My dad did not play about church. So I can't be nice about it. My dad just didn't play about church. So after eating that big breakfast, I would go to church, and I would go to sleep, okay? And the choir would be singing, didn't hear it, because that breakfast was good. Yeah, some of that country, whatever, right? So, when I would hear the church say amen. I would hear those words, and I remember amen, because I knew amen. I think it was time to go home or something like that. But I remember amen, and I know. And this was like a couple of times I fell asleep in church. But I didn't hear what the preacher was talking about. But I said everybody must be in agreement, because everybody said amen. He said let the church say amen, so everybody must agree. So this is how amen came to my mind. And I said I'll put the amen into the footage room. And I said to myself, what would I wake up in the mornings and say amen to? And can I say amen to that? Yes or no? I cannot say amen to that, but I can say amen to this. So I put amen into the footage room. Not to hurt misery, but to help misery. And I call it, and what I do out there, I call it planting positive seeds. Planting positive seeds on 31st and 6th. Planting positive seeds. Not to hurt misery, but to help. And the reason why I say help misery, because misery has no understanding and no process. Negative thinking, negative attitude, looking for positive results is not a process. A process is something that goes from the beginning to the end and is complete. Negative thinking, negative attitude, looking for positive results is not complete. Only positive thinking, positive attitude, having patience for my results is complete. That's why they call it insanity. So, what was I talking? I put amen, and I put that into the footage room, and I put the beginning into the footage room. Now, the beginning is very important. The beginning goes with the Alpha and the Omega. And I'm going to explain this one to you, and I should be cutting it off and coming to you with a third video, and it'll be my third video, but the second of the introduction, or no, the second of the beginning, the opening. Okay? So it'll be the second of this video. But the beginning, it goes, the Alpha and the Omega, I was talking about that. God says, I am the Alpha. I put Amen into the footage room, and then I put the beginning into the footage room. The Alpha, for two reasons why I put the beginning into the footage room. Now that I just came up with the second reason. The Alpha and the Omega. God said that it is the beginning and the end. I look at God like energy. It is the beginning and the end. So if I take that beginning, right, and I look at it like a little domino, and I'm setting up little domino pieces, and I have the beginning right here, and I go all the way, and I put the last domino there. But if I was to step aside that domino and walk all the way to that last domino, that would be the end domino. That beginning that I just put there. See? But I would have to, when God says, I am the beginning and the end, the first domino is the beginning. But if I was, after I didn't set all the dominoes up and I was to walk on the opposite side of that domino line, that beginning would be that end. So, why do I say it like that? What goes around comes around. Just like saying I didn't want to bring this up now, but this is in the footage room too. The two-way are the revolving mirror. Let's see if I just had it in my mind. If I gotta explain it. If I'm well, let's say if I got positive thinking this day, but then I slip up into temptation, and I'm dealing with negative thinking, negative attitude. That mirror is, I don't know if I can get this right. That mirror is going to swing right back around and show me. No, I said it backwards. My dirt will come out to light eventually. Okay, my dirt will be that mirror has to turn back around and show you your face again. And insanity is trying to avoid on that mirror turning back around and insanity's face being exposed. This is why when I'm out there on 31st and 6th, I've said to myself, if you're really done with something, then you wouldn't mind exposing. Like me and when I was in my, well, I guess we call it my drug problem. Was it a problem? There was times that I was addicted, but I was conscious of it. But as I tell people on 31st and 6th, are you learning, or did you fall in love with it? The way of insanity. I didn't fall in love with insanity. All right. So the beginning. So we have Amen, number one, and the beginning. Those two. There's a lot more that goes into the footage room. There's a lot more that I have that is in the footage room. Or I call it positive seeds, or explaining the ways of misery. There's a lot more that's in this footage room. But the first two things that I wanted to put on the top shelf in the footage room to help misery was Amen and the beginning. Here's the second reason why I put the beginning into the footage room. Here's the second reason now. Dig this. Or check this out. New age. The second reason why I put the beginning into the footage room, because if you ever notice, whenever you're in misery, or you might not know that it's misery, but you and another person, or their energy, that energy never likes to visit the beginning. See, the beginning, it's the process. You have the beginning, middle, and end. But insanity never likes to go back to the beginning where all the facts lie at. It wants to deal with what's here and what's going on right now. This is part of the reason why you have the Trump that's in it. It never wants to go back. I tell people, and I use that as an example. It never wants to visit the beginning on how things started. Because if you, as I said, a book is only, it has a beginning, it has the middle, and it has the end. So it always, with a Misery, it doesn't want to argue from the beginning. It always wants to argue from the middle. This is how as I said, I tell my positive thinkers that you get caught up in ridiculous talk. Because if you're not looking at the beginning, then you're not looking at facts. See, it has to be completed. The beginning, middle, and end. But Misery doesn't want to go back to the beginning. So that's where we come up with the other things that I put into the footage room. So I'm going to leave it off there. Misery does not want to visit the beginning. Positive thinkers out there, you have a positive day. I'll come back with the other things that I have in the footage room. Let me write this down too. Misery. Hold on, give me 1 second. Listen, have a positive day to the creators out there, people with passion, wanting to pursue your dreams. I say go after it. Hell, go after it. Go after it. You only get one life to pursue your dreams. Don't let others talk you into doing something. This is a new generation now. It's a new generation. And it's just new times, and especially with this technology here. We should know and not believe. So go after your passion. Go after your passion. And don't let. And this is why I'm going to be putting some of these tips down too. But yeah, go after your passion. Don't let nobody tell you no, especially if you really believe it. I say go. Have a positive day, positive thinking. My attitude must follow. Having patience for your results, and much love. Have a good day.